People in the UK are twice as likely as older people to pray regularly. That's a new survey has found. Just over a half of 18 to 34-year-olds polled have said that they pray at least once a month. That's compared with a quarter of those aged 55 and over. Well, young people are also more likely to attend a place of worship at least once a month.
Well, joining us now to talk about this, Caroline Farrow, columnist at the Catholic Voices. Thank you for joining us. Very good to see you. Oh, that face tells me I've just said something wrong.
Sorry, no, it's a Catholic Universe, but that's fine.
Catholic Universe. I apologise. Let's get that right. Catholic Universe. Well, very good to see you this morning. And I'm just wondering, given that for the last year most churches have been closed, how are we working this data?
Well, I think there's a number of reasons behind it. I mean, it certainly bears out what a lot of church leaders are seeing and saying, particularly, I think, in urban areas. So, we know that in sort of urban areas, there will be a higher concentration, perhaps, of religious minorities. And, we're seeing this in some of like the mega churches in London in particular. There are huge numbers of young people. And also, I think in the traditionalist Catholic movement as well, that is burgeoning and full of young families. And I think there's a number of reasons behind this. Of course, we've had the pandemic and, at the moment, life is tough for a lot of people. And, young people are searching for the metaphysical answers and questions, what is the meaning of life and looking for answers. I think the other thing is that in a society which is, post-Christian, it's largely secular, those people who adhere to their faith, take this very, very seriously. It's not simply sort of lip service, and these days to be a Christian or to be any other faith, I'm just talking from a Christian perspective for a moment, means that you actually take your faith seriously. It's not simply that, okay, I was baptized and I never saw the inside of a church again. It is, I am Christian, and this is what it means to be Christian. It means, going to church every Sunday. It means praying. And so I think, that those that we are seeing are those who are more generally religious.
Morning, Caroline. And this is also, is it right that the numbers could reflect the move to online worship as well? So it's much more reachable, really, isn't it?
Possibly, yes and no. I mean, I think what we saw as a result of the pandemic and lockdowns is that, a lot of people were really alienated from their faith community, particularly older people. And for a faith like mine, like Catholicism, actually online services are not enough. Catholicism in particular is a very physical religion. The sacraments are physical and they have to be done in person. And, we saw a real decline in people's sort of mental health and quality of life when all the churches were closed. And of course, some people did migrate online. But the thing is, online services are no actual substitute. And very often, online services are, I know this, my husband is a priest, are very difficult because, you're reliant on a Wi-Fi connection and good equipment. And it's just kind of not the same feeling. But I also wonder as well, some of this, there is a trend towards sort of mindfulness as well. So, some of that could be related.
Caroline, I'm just wondering, given the difficulty that everybody's been through in the last year, and here we are, we're talking this morning about politicians bad-mouthing each other. Do you think there's a sense that youngsters perhaps want a bit of moral guidance, want a bit of morality introduced into their lives because they're not getting it anywhere else?
I think there is a lot of that. And one thing that I'm seeing as well, which is really wonderful for me, is I think a lot of the kind of woke sensibility that we have. A lot of people are actually re-examining. So whereas sort of 10 years ago, I might be called, a terrible bigot, because I have traditional Christian or Catholic views, people are actually beginning to re-examine what it is, Christians believe and why. And actually, I think in some instances, it's a refreshing alternative to the woke culture. Now, that's not to say that Christianity is harsh or condemnatory or judgmental, as a lot of people seem to think that it is. But it's like, hang on a minute, we should allow all voices. I think we're seeing the public square, there's a desire to see the public square open up a bit more and realise that, voices of faith are as welcome as everybody else, and people are actually far more interested in what I have to say and why, rather than, well, actually, okay, you're a hateful bigot. But I think, yes, I think people are looking at, as I said before, for these metaphysical questions. For them, why are we here? What's life all about? Who created us? And they haven't had. We also have to remember that religious education in this country is terrible. It's really, really, really poor quality. And this is something that educationalists are complaining about all the time, that children are not being given a decent and thorough religious education. They might do a module on Christianity at school, but they're not really looking at these subjects in any depth. And so I think young people are coming to it fresh. They're feeling a desire in their hearts. I think, obviously, because I'm a Christian, I think it's God calling them. They're inspired by Christ, and they're saying, "Who is this person of Jesus Christ? Who is God?" And it speaks to a very deep yearning I think we all have. I mean, St. Augustine said, "My heart is restless until it rests in Thee," and I think modern times are leading to this sense of restlessness, and we all want, this inner peace that actually, I believe that only faith and only Christ can bring.